Are you ready, kids?
Yeah, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Yeah, Captain!
Oh! What sits in our tables and sticks in our minds?
Arkham Horror!
An eldritch experience that's one of a kind.
Arkham Horror!
As monsters and madness begin to expand,
Arkham Horror!
just shuffle the cards and draw up your hand.
Arkham Horror!
Ready?
Arkham Horror!
Arkham Horror! Arkham Horror! Arkham Horror!
I love myself. This game's all about me. My hand sizes down. I guess I'll just draw 3. I search myself. Please get this guy off me. I forget the rules. I want you to remind me. I don't help anybody else. When I need to draw cards, I book myself. Oh, I don't help anybody else. No. It's the card that makes you come running. Gets the stuff that makes you shine. When you're around, I'm always laughing. I wanna just search mine. I draw bad guys and I need you to save me. Think I would die if you were to forget me. When it's my turn, probably just ignore you. I've got charges to burn, won't do anything for you. I don't help anybody else. When I need to draw cards, I book myself. Oh, I don't help anybody else. No. I love my deck. I guess I'll just pay 3. I will get rook down, then I'll use them to help me. I search myself, my choices are crappy. I forget the rules, I need you to remind me. I don't help anybody else. When I need to draw cards, I book myself. Oh, I don't help anybody else. No.
I need help. Can't turn to anybody else. Nick, can you help anyone besides yourself?
No. I don't help anybody else. When I have the secrets, I search myself. Oh, I don't help anybody else. When I have the old book, I search myself. I search myself, old book of lore. Used on myself, no stone unturned. Used on myself, I search myself. Exclusively do use Mr. Rook to help myself. I search myself. I exclusively do. I search myself. I help myself. I search myself.
Everyone do the staring thing. Hi, and welcome to khamCon 2020 After Dark with the Mythos Busters and special guests yet to come. I'm Sean. That's Ian. Ian, you can unmute.
What? Now I'm here.
Hi. That one's Nick.
Hello.
You do look like you just took a nap.
Oh,
And that's Scott.
Hi.
How's it going?
Well, I was going to take a break, and then that song stuck in my head from Blob, and I just could not get it out of my head, so I had to make a song.
And down below, appropriately holding up the rest of the Mythos Busters, is Justin, our administrative answer. Hey, Justin.
John and everybody.
Boys, it's been a couple days. A couple days have passed, and many Arkham things have happened in them. This con has turned out far better than it had any right to, and has far surpassed, I think, any of our expectations. But first of all, thanks to all of you guys for showing up and actually taking interest in this thing that we're putting on. Communities can't exist without the people that show up, and that's 90% of it. So thank you so much.
And Justin, how many people showed up? What are we at?
No, we are still having people register.
Wow. Okay, well, what are we at right now?
Right now, we have, I don't have the official count, but we have for sure crossed the 850 registering mark. Yeah, from all our initial estimates, we were thinking maybe 500, 600.
I was thinking
max.
like 200, but
I keep telling you, believe in yourself, man.
because we have the 5 of us, and then
I only know like
All
5
friends and
people.
family.
So,
Dude, I know like I think I could name everyone in our chat right now. This is awesome.
I could too. There's
No, I'm not, that wasn't a challenge. I'm just saying this is awesome.
Oh, okay.
I gotta throw a shout out too, like to all the other content producers and
Yes.
people who hosted games, everything like that. Like this con could not have existed without you. We literally just like framed a house, and you guys put up the drywall, put in the floors, decorated it, put in the weird sex dungeon in the basement. Like it was.
I think
just,
that was all us, actually.
Do you say
Oh, yeah,
dungeon
right.
or
Dungeon.
dungeons plural? Because it's plural.
Well, we made one.
Okay.
We're gonna
And
put
then, yeah.
walls up though, so it's actually gonna be multiple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely try
Yeah.
the swing though. You won't regret it.
Mhm.
And the awesome thing is, it's not even over. There is still tons of stuff tomorrow. Like,
Yep.
oh man, I'm blown away.
Yeah, so let's start out the night. For those, I'm sure just about everyone here knows, but for anyone who might not, the reason that we're doing this is because every year at Gen Con, we close out the con Saturday night at the Slippery Noodle Inn. Normally we team up with Cardboard of the Rings, and we rent out the basement, and we have like 60, 70 people and more filter through there throughout the night, having drinks, playing party games, and it's just this wonderful party to close out what's generally a pretty cool weekend, and we're doing our best to bring that energy here. So, guys, tonight I'm going to start out with a Banshee Cutter, which is one of my favorites from a local brewery, Insight Brewing. It's a golden ale infused with coffee. Ian, what you got?
This is Stone Tangerine Express.
Ooh, right on.
Little guy on there.
I've had that one.
It's yeah, pretty good so far.
Scott, how about you?
I mean, I'm a man of habit. I have my La Fin du Monde. That's
Bingo
the
square.
9%. That's the 9% that gets me to doing Akachi deck builds and picking my my bracket for
Oh God.
March to Madness. If you guys have not heard about this, like this is like honestly, it's an amazing beer. It's a Belgian triple, and it's from the province of Quebec in Canada, and it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the final 10 minutes of both of those episodes are possibly some of my favorite twitching that we've done.
I haven't watched the Akachi deck build. I think I need to go back and watch that.
Dude, go back and watch it and pay attention to how many times we have the Enchanted Blade argument.
I stand by. I remember those, and I stand by my statement. I think Enchanted Blade is bad in Akachi, but
You're perfectly allowed to be wrong, and that's fine, and that's where we landed on the video.
well,
Nick, what are you drinking?
I'm going crazy tonight. I'm not one much for alcohol, but I'm on my second Mountain Dew for the
Ooh.
I've been cutting back to 1 a day because I have a problem, everybody. But for After Dark, I'm willing to let that problem rage on. So
Excellent. And Justin, how about you?
I am on to Shoof.
Oof.
You will be seeing me drink it out of my filled tiki glass instead because I wanted to stay on theme.
Is that a Belgian beer? Is it Belgian?
Is I believe so.
It looks like a Belgian bottle. That's why, because I love
right.
Duvel, which is also a Belgian beer. They have the
Yes,
same
it is.
bottle.
It is a Belgian golden ale. It is delicious. I highly recommend it.
I assume the French part of Belgium because the name looks French.
It does sound vaguely
Oui.
French. So, boys, let's kick this sucker in right. Cheers to y'all. This has been a great con. So, and cheers to everyone out in the audience. Have a drink with us for showing up. This has
Cheers.
been a great time. All right. So, boys, how's your con been? What are some highlights?
Oh boy.
Manny.
I've got one that I want to just quickly tag on the front. A highlight for me is Scott proving that he has reached god levels of efficiency, because never so quickly have we gone from a song riff to a completed song.
to an actual song.
In the space of an afternoon, we went from having a riff to the fully fleshed out song happening. So, well done, Scott. All while we were supposed to be on a break.
That is my break. So, I took a really good shower, and then I was telling Maura about the idea I had for the song, and the part where she's in it. She actually came up with that herself, and I was
Nice.
because I was like, oh man, I should make this song and stuff, but I don't know what to do with different parts. And she came up with that, and I was like, okay, well now I need to make the whole thing. So, sorry, honey, I got to go back in the basement. She's like, yeah, no, I understand. Do your thing. So,
Well, and then she helped you somehow, right?
well, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well done. Okay, so anyway, now back to actual highlights of the actual con.
Well, the game that actually spurred that song was pretty fun,
Mhm.
because we were all playing interesting builds that I don't think any of us have played before.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's the first time in a long time that I played dedicated support, and obviously that went well enough to inspire a song about how selfish I can be.
Support.
Yeah.
The fact that you didn't have guidance in that deck makes me wonder.
Right. Well, I was like, I'm not going to be getting extra actions, but then there were definitely turns where I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely should have put guidance in there. But like I said during the stream, it makes me excited to play Carolyn for Iron Man next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be excited to have you go every time we ask you for a favor.
Guys, I'm playing dedicated support. Nick, can I have some help? Oh my god.
The most begrudging possible.
But
And
think
the-
of how good that would do for me, though.
And the song was.
It
born.
reminds me when I first played Labyrinth of Lunacy, epic multiplayer at Arkham Knights, and you had Daisy with the encyclopedia, and I was Zoe, and I was killing all these monsters. Like I was just the enemy killer, and I was like, "Hey, can you give me +2 combat for the turn?" You're like, I guess. And I guess I can
need it.
Oh, like, yes, I do. And you're like, I guess I can use my extra tome action. I'm like, Nick, you have an extra action for a fucking reason. That
There's a
blob game
reason
was
I play tank.
yeah, that blob game was amazing. Sergey and Zizorba and oh god, I'm forgetting who else. There's a
Cuddly
few people
Zombie, I
involved in
believe.
making that. Yeah, Cuddly Zombie. I think there was a few other people. We have a chat going, but anyways, the website that they made for that was absolutely amazing. Like the interface was amazing. The fact that they had a little window that streamers could put up to keep everyone abreast of the situation. God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
You and I got a little bit of the behind the scenes peek at the work that went into that, and it was just incredible. Like huge props to everybody involved with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another big highlight for me actually was not gameplay related at all. It was the and we'll talk about this later because I think Vase and Nate are coming on the show. But the talk we did in the morning, Friday morning? Yes, Friday morning.
Yep.
The tempo versus momentum I it's really nitty gritty. Like, get your graphing calculators out. But
Push up your glasses.
yeah, like it was really great. So I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, it's sitting in a pocket protector in our YouTube channel.
Yeah, accurate. I really enjoyed the Patreon event. That went. I was a really
speed deck building.
I was nervous about how it'd go, but I think once we hit on the idea of doing speed deck building, that really helped facilitate it. And especially for me, I know I will tend to agonize over a deck build when I'm doing it on my own for like half an hour. And so for those who didn't get to watch the event, we each built a deck in 5 minutes, and we were given cards by patrons that were not optimal, except for Sean. He got optimal cards.
What can I say? They love me. I
don't
know what happened.
That was it.
It wasn't what I
It was
expected.
fun just to like knee-jerk deck build, like, okay, what cards go in, and it's just kind of your first impression deck build.
And then the fact that patrons got to pull a card out after we built it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like, and your deck record scratch. You're like, oh shit.
You had what, like 6 or 8 allies, Scott, and then they pulled charisma.
Like double charisma, and they're like, no charisma. I'm like, oh god. Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
I mean, I was gonna say, one highlight I want to call out before we forget is I super enjoyed Team Covenant's stream.
Oh yeah.
That was
super fun. Yeah,
that was so much fun. I've enjoyed so much of what all the content creators have done, but you know, anything with Constellation is going to be near and dear to us, and that was just fun to watch their playthrough.
I thoroughly enjoyed how much they agonized about how to get those 5 VP.
Yes,
off the,
yes, they talked
library.
about it so many times.
That
And for
dirty honeypot.
For how many
really
times
is.
we agonize, well, for how much we talked about that little, yeah, it was cool to see it live.
Yeah, that was really Scott's idea to put those victory points on it, and he had to convince me. I was like,
and that was like right at
it
the
was
end
a good choice.
too.
Yeah, that was like a last minute decision.
Because I think we had a victory too, and I was like, you know what, Ian, we need a victory fountain, or sorry, a clue fountain, because, well, you know, like some scenarios where you can spend clues, you need a clue fountain. I was like, put a clue fountain there, and you know what, make it so that it's 5 victory points, and some people get it.
If
But you
ask
have to be
for it,
prepared
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Well,
Nick, what was your highlight?
Oh, yeah, Nick.
I don't think you.
I said the Blob game. I was
Oh,
the first one, just because that was most recent in my memory. But yeah, that was super fun. Sean, what's your highlight?
I'm living it right now, baby.
Oh,
After Dark just started, and yeah, I mean, it could all be down.
You know how much he loves After Dark.
Yeah,
You
that's
do.
true.
So the whole premise of this thing is going to be a little bit of a hot jam, as my friend Brandon liked to call it. We're going to bring on some of the other content contributors here, starting with, I hope his ears were burning, Brandon and Big Stupid Grin, who both ran a fair few events. Someone want to add them to the chat?
Hmm.
Is that a thing we can do?
Seems possible.
Yes, I just have to figure out how. Vamp.
Yeah. All right.
Brand.
All right. So let me give a real answer then. Draft was pretty baller, man. I have to say. Just making those, like, I ended up with a really meat and potatoes deck, and at a certain point it was just like, I just grab good cards and I get money and I try to win. But just still seeing the cards come across and trying to figure out who was taking what, and like the second time I saw Rook come around, I was like, who didn't? And I don't know, it was just a very interesting experience, and the adversary piece with the weaknesses was very entertaining.
That was all Casey.
Yeah.
That the beck and summon the adversary part like that was all Casey.
Yeah, and we'll get Casey on here in just a few minutes here, I'm sure. Hey, Brandon from Optimal Play, welcome.
Hi, Sean from Mythos Busters.
Aw.
And everyone else. How are you?
Oh, we're fantastic.
Great.
How's your con been?
Brandon,
Oh yeah,
I'm
first
getting
what you
ready
drinking?
for the Innsmouth Conspiracy with Fog Cutter Double IPA.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, from Lost Coast Brewery in California.
That sounds wonderful.
I don't know about this whole After Dark thing. It is broad daylight in Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, same.
some
Oh.
early drinking.
I think you misunderestimate our stamina, sir. I don't
Brandon,
know,
I have to ask, because you did. Tell us about your Chaos deck event, because I have a couple
Yeah.
questions.
So yesterday afternoon, we played what we call the Ultimatum of Crowdsourced Chaos, where we solicited contributions from everyone. It actually sounds pretty similar to what you guys did, but we didn't get to deck build with the submissions. Every single card that was submitted, we used for a 4-player playthrough of Murder at the Excelsior Hotel. And so, yeah, you know,
Look,
we
that's an
figured,
okay
like,
scenario.
we figured we always fail miserably with the decks we build. Like 30 people would build a much better deck, right? And actually, it kind of bore out. Like we had the Calvin deck somehow ended up with 2 copies of the Survivor Tarot card. Roland got some flamethrowers. Akachi got Magic Blast from Marvel Champions.
Who got the Helicarrier?
Roland did, which I don't know if Stokes' heart was in the right place with that or not, but the chat pointed out that since the way the terminology in Marvel Champions works, what Helicarrier does is it reduces the cost of the next card played by a resource, which like that translates into Arkham language, but it says action : do that, which in Marvel is nothing.
Yeah.
But in Arkham, if you're spending an action for one resource,
We're all in the quick economy.
Luckily, Marvel cards also have icons in the corners that you use for a completely different purpose, but that one had a fist icon, so I put it into a combat test. It worked out.
I think that's the only icon in Marvel that. Oh no, wilds also match. I guess technically.
Oh yeah,
Like a wild
too.
But like energy and science, just
Yeah. So that was a total blast. Thank you again to everyone who contributed, and it's something that since this is such a smashing success, there will be more for Arkham cons. So we'll be sure to do that again.
It's not something we've talked about.
Ongoing discussion.
I know and I want to start making the trip to Gen Con, but I've never been to Gen Con, so this is my first After Dark.
Yeah, dude.
Stoked.
That's right.
Well, it'd probably be pretty empty if you went this year, but
True, I thought about still going, just saying like, all right, now I've been. But
You can go
We
there
don't-
without all the sweaty nerd smell. That event hall by the end of the day.
I
the weather
I'm,
would be nicer than when you come to Minnesota, like
Yes.
last year.
yeah.
Yeah, that was. I don't own clothes for that weather. I've got the temperature on my watch. It's 92 outside right now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. I feel
You
like my
guys-
closet is full of hoodies and sweaters, but I don't own actual like jackets, like heavy
Yeah.
jackets.
Yeah, if it starts to snow,
We
or
kept trying to
even,
shove a
like,
jacket
rain.
at Ian.
Like, how does this work?
Dude, that is
Is
the
this
thing in Minnesota. Ian, you were there for the Con of the Rings when Matt D didn't have a jacket, but he not only did not he have a jacket, he didn't have a long sleeve shirt, he didn't have a hoodie. Dude is out from Arizona in Minnesota in late October in a t-shirt and like skinny jeans. And we were doing karaoke at a ramen place, because as you do. And we stepped outside for a minute, and there was a dude having a smoke out there, just an old dude, like Minnesotan as fuck, just like, oh hey there, how's it going, like just like super stereotype Minnesotan. And he takes a look at Matt, and Matt's just kind of but that's kind of a proud guy. He's not the guy who's gonna be like, oh, I'm cold. You'll just see him shaking. And the dude just goes, he like literally takes his jacket off without asking and handed it to Matt, and Matt was like, I'm not gonna take that. It was pretty great.
one thing.
Minnesotans.
One of the, and this is going to sound weird, one of the downsides of running this con is I did not get to watch a lot of the streams because I was busy doing other
True.
things like making songs and hosting events.
Important things like that, yeah.
Yeah, very important things. But I am so excited for the dearth of content I have, like for the next week and a half of streams I can watch. And
That's-
yeah, I'm so pumped.
I think dearth means the opposite of what you just
Oh.
used it
I was
for,
gonna
but-
say I don't know if you're using that word correctly, but
Oh yeah, dearth is a
what's
lack
the other
of.
word?
Dearth is like a drought, but
Yeah.
for things other than water.
What's the opposite of dearth?
Bounty?
A bevy.
A plenty, a bevy?
There we go.
Yeah,
That's what we landed.
yeah.
on
There's
last
hours
time.
and hours to watch.
I'm in the same boat with so much of it happening Thursday and Friday. Like outside of my own stream, I was frantically trying to get my work done for like the whole day job thing. So I'll be in the same boat. I know all the replays are going up on the website. I'll be checking them out for probably weeks to come.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll take it.
Sorry, God damn it, guys! I was focused for 1 second. You can't keep the conversation going. I'm trying to add
No,
big
I
stupid
lived
grin
those
here.
pauses.
Sean, you look like you're hosting last week tonight. You're in just like a white void. It's oddly hypnotic.
Oh, hey, actually, you know what? I wanted to have a way to actually get this in frame, so I'm just gonna have to do this. But my daughter made this like as her first quarantine project. It's the Mythos Busters logo and it says Cthulhu Crossing, but I have no way to hang it on the wall behind me. So there we go. Now you know it. Now you know it exists. It's like it's as good as having it behind me.
I was so
Brandon-
tempted to replace this blue curtain with a green curtain, and then people could green screen stuff behind me if they so wanted to.
Well, that's a dangerous game, my friend.
It is. It is.
Brandon, what was your so far? What was your favorite part of the con?
Oh man, it's like I said, I unfortunately haven't seen a lot of the streams yet, but it's gotta be playing Magic Blast in Akachi. I know that's okay. So I guess my favorite part of this Arkham Con was Marvel Champions.
Ooh.
I mean,
No, so
okay.
Friend of your show and mine, Stokes, was the troll who
Dave.
put Marvel cards in our deck. And,
Dave, a troll? No.
right?
Dave.
I know, hard to believe it. And I'm not. I guess I have Discord open. I'm not watching the chat. I'm sure he's loved us reliving that story, but
He's laughing
Yeah.
maniacally.
that was it. Just it was the icing on the cake of the chaos that we were looking for. and I think I mean, and you're gonna make me eat these words next time we do this, but I was almost disappointed at how well the decks turned out because we actually got through Excelsior like reasonably smoothly with these decks that were supposed to be garbage, and so just having those ridiculous moments throughout the game. There was a Marvel card in each person's deck, so each just kind of on regular intervals throughout the game, someone drew it and figured out how it worked in Arkham and made it happen. It was a great time.
Well, next time I'll throw some Star Wars CCG cards at you, and you can figure out how big
There we go.
I have the TTS
Yeah.
mod, so I will provide you with the cards.
I did learn a lot about TTS when I took on the challenge of like, all right, how do I get Marvel cards with Arkham card backs into the super complete mod? It was a learning experience, frantic right before the stream started.
Yeah.
All right, adding in big stupid grin. We don't need to pause. It's
Oh, okay.
it'll happen.
Connecting.
Wait
Quietly
for
running.
it.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Hello, big stupid grin. Or I'm sure your mother calls you something different. Can we have that one?
Oh.
Oh, probably having a couple mic issues.
I'm sure his mother calls him Big Huge Stupid Grin. His full name.
There we go.
Middle name. and
Yeah. Big, huge, enormous, Mr. Stupid Grin.
So the chaos decks, though.
Yeah. We did allow any level of card as long as they fit the deck building rules of the investigator. So I think that the pure power level of the cards that people put in made it like. So we got the hotel manager ending. Flamethrowers are really good against a 24 hit point enemy. You know, you can just
Turns out.
a single flamethrower does 16 damage. So
That
You
was
could just say flamethrower is pretty good. And just
just
That-
full
that-
stop.
yeah, that's true. It is one of my favorite cards. I couldn't believe that people actually. Sean, Scott, were you one of the people who gave it to us? No.
no, I gave
No,
you. What did I give you?
gave. Oh, you gave Roland Quick Study. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that just its terrible, horrifying art just startled me when I drew it, and that was about its impact on the game.
Macaulay Culkin, what are you
That's
doing
usually
here?
how it goes.
Did you use it at all? Were you able to
for its
make...
icons, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think that dropping clues was ever in the agenda in that particular scenario.
That
But you
was
can
the
pick them
interesting
right back up.
experience in the Patreon event too, is that people actually gave positive good cards to us sometimes, which
For
I was
you
not
guys.
expecting. Well, not so much for me and Scott, but more so for Nick and Sean.
Oh, I love that people are playing favorites. We actually did not. I intentionally did not say who was playing which investigator when we obviously had, when people submitted cards, had to say who the investigators were, but we didn't say who was playing what. I was afraid that people would pick on me specifically because that is what everyone does in every game that they play with me, and I've never been able to explain it.
That's true. That's true. We were
Yeah.
jointly
Oh, yeah.
eliminated from that one game. Like the one time I've ever been on your team, I can speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They the rest of the team joined the, what's the name of the big bad in the Night's Usurper?
Dahara.
Yeah.
Zahra. Yeah.
Ian. Zahara for life.
Yeah.
You evil bastards.
Right off on a night gun.
Now, Sean, you and I also joined Zahara in
That's
our
true.
TNA campaign.
Skids and
And-
Daisy.
And that Kopesh.
Ooh. The Kopesh did work in that campaign, man.
That might be
man.
one of my favorite campaign, or one of my favorite rewards from a side scenario.
For a
That was
death-
Especially-
the Nightcrawler, right? Like you bounce to a location, engage an enemy. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, like you kill an enemy and then response, you exhaust it, and then you just move to another enemy and engage it.
Yeah.
So like to kill something with me and then just fly 4 locations across the map to Sean, take his enemy, and I still have 2 actions left, or 3 with skids. Like it's amazing.
There were some pretty clutch
I've
plays.
got to get that in as a side quest more. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
difficult, and I think it can end your campaign, right? Or at least
can,
kill your
yep.
investigator. Like I'm pretty risk averse with when it comes to Guardians of the Abyss as a side quest.
It
Oh,
asks. I think
yeah.
it asks more of you than any of the other side quests do.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Agreed.
rewards are really good.
Yeah, I think I know that the Night Gaunt whistles are really cool, but I think the Kopesh might just be better.
Yeah, I think in general it is. The Night
probably
Gaunts are
is.
just fucking cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fun.
the
Like,
cool
Yeah,
factor on
whistles.
those are amazing.
Man.
Didn't
I've
someone
been
get...
playing a lot of Forgotten Age lately. It's, partly in preparation for our Thursday stream was Steven and my like deep dive. We spent 2.5 hours reviewing the Forgotten Age,
Oof.
and so partly in prep for that, and partly just because another friend that I've been kind of living vicariously through his blind plays has gotten up to Forgotten Age, and I mean that campaign is just a gut punch after another anyway. You might as well put Guardians of the Abyss in it.
Yeah, yeah. And they came out around the same time, so it makes sense.
You gotta
Yeah,
make
it's
your
true.
trauma even-sided. You gotta take a little off this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Guardians of the Abyss is way easier though with a campaign bag. That's the thing. Like the
Yeah.
Guardians of the Abyss bag is just, you want to talk about gut punch, Brandon. Whew.
Unless
Yeah.
unless you insert it into 4-player Carcosa, and then you got 3 skulls, and you're like, why did we do this?
Yeah. Bring Jim.
Yeah, they'll start at -4 in that case, right? In a 4-player
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
It's rough.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That player scaling.
All right, sorry.
Dave Stupid Grin gonna be able to join us?
Perhaps.
How you doing, dude?
Maybe.
Oh,
Say
by the way,
something?
technical difficulties space on anyone's bingo card.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
hadn't,
bingo,
if you
yeah.
hadn't gotten it already, and you'd had many chances,
Yeah, I think every stream should be one.
And Skids and Daisy. We
Man.
someone
Oh!
ticked off. Oh, Thoth. I think Thoth is raking them in.
yeah.
He's
take a look
gotten
at
a
it.
lot.
Aaron's got a
All right.
sharp ear for that.
I missed
Thoth,
my chance to like
Scott,
take some.
I know you're really bad at like usernames to real names, but Scott is Aaron that like blew.
I
all
know
the
who he
comps
is.
up. Okay, all right, making sure.
Yeah. 'Cause he
I know
and
who
I
he
played
is.
Blob
Oh,
together
that's
when
who
we
that
did.
was.
No, when we did our small blob at Arkham Knights last year, he sat beside me, and I was playing Ursula, and his first turn play was Milan, and I had Milan in hand, and he was playing Carolyn, and he was playing a singleton Carolyn deck, and he's like, I went to play Milan, and he's like, oh, I stole Milan from you. I was like, oh, it was my only ally besides whatever hers, Jake. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So
It happens. It happens. That's
Mhm.
Honestly, though, okay, so I have to say this. I find that to be far less an issue, the whole unique rule, far less an issue in Arkham than I ever did in, like, Lord of the Rings. And that's probably just because you only have so many named characters in Lord of the Rings, but, like, as far as...
You also don't have unique neutral cards, right? Like, I don't think those exist in Arkham.
Red Glove Man.
Oh, that's
Black
true.
Cat. Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay,
Anna
but they're like
Caswell.
level 5. Yeah.
None that anyone play
Just
anyway.
the fact
Or no
there's
one takes them with Anna Caswell.
Yeah.
there's just way less characters on the board. You're only playing 1 or 2 allies. You only have 1 investigator versus 3 heroes. Like
That's
Yeah.
maybe what it is like the 1 investigator to 3 heroes, because we get more investigators per box than Lord of the Rings does, and choose a third of what Lord of the Rings does for any given pickup game. So yeah, that's probably it.
Well, in Lord of the Rings, like
Yeah.
50% of your deck should be allies. Is the
Ish.
the beginner term, the beginner rule,
Yeah,
right? Like
50,
so,
25, 25, yeah.
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 Marvel's starting to creep up there though, because we're just talking about other card games that I
Well,
love.
I think Marvel's going to have probably more like unique characters than any of them. I think just
Right.
because of the nature of that game. Like
They are. You have like you basically start off with double charisma. You can have 2 allies in.
Yeah.
But they're already coming out
I thought
with
it was 3.
double
would be 3
charisma. So you can
Oh,
have
double
he's-
charisma.
Yeah. But you like Iron Man ally is now out with Doctor Strange.
Oh,
So
is
now
it?
like, is it?
I don't know. I bought that pack and haven't opened it.
I'm
yet,
pretty sure. Yeah,
but
because
I
Doctor
was
Strange had to
thinking
make
that
room
when
for
Hulk
his
came
deck.
that would be the first time that they. had
There's
the
Hulk,
overlap, but
and
maybe
then
not.
for the new box coming out, they announced Spider Woman as a hero,
Oh yeah.
but she's also Captain Marvel's signature
Yeah.
ally.
but
So-
also in Marvel, they don't check for uniqueness.
They do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do. I thought each player could have a copy of the ally
No.
in Marvel. Oh,
Nope. So
Oh,
when
that sucks.
if you're playing with Captain Marvel as a hero, you can't put out or you can't put out Spider Woman if you're playing with Spider Woman.
Yeah.
Although I wonder
just
about
a
like,
resource at that
if you're
point.
Carol
That must
Danvers.
go in Captain Marvel's deck.
Yeah,
Right.
if you're Carol Danvers, can you put in Spider Woman? No. Anyways,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
Casey
how
in
your
the chat
brain-
says you just have to bait your friend playing Spider Woman into getting defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Luckily,
perfect sense to me.
Like
Luckily, Spider Woman
God
ally has a
immediately
wild
goes to-
resource, so
Scott immediately goes to, how could I break this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can you have multiple copies of that? Like, if everybody had, let's say, Hulk as an ally in their deck, could everybody have their copy of Hulk in play?
no.
Oh, that's so weird.
And you're also only allowed 1 copy of any unique card in your deck.
You'd think that
Yeah,
in a game,
so
in a
different.
property with 98% unique characters, that they would have made some sort of concession for that. But no, all right, whatever.
Well, there's going to be a leadership card at some point that's like friends from alternate realities or something. That just says like you may have multiple copies of the same ally in play.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Chris in the chat, while Spider Woman is an alter ego, so I don't know Marvel at all, but
Jessica
whoever,
Mhm.
okay, her, Captain Marvel can put Spider Woman ally into play, and then
Oh.
then she can't flip.
Flip.
Man.
Wow.
There's your grief deck, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add one to your grief.
Yeah.
That's a table flip.
The thing is, once Spider Woman comes out, I'm pretty sure I'm going to main Spider Woman for a while because she's amazing. So
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, well, I think Big Stupid Grin is kind of working through some technical issues. But in the meantime, want to bring on Casey, Scott?
yeah, Casey, if you
Who's
are
Casey,
here, Casey.
Casey, do I know a
Get
Casey?
over here.
Who is the one we call Mr. Trench?
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to the other people because
Oh, I see a dog-faced man.
There
we
goes
go.
the
Surprise.
neighbor.
See a dog face.
Hi,
There
Casey.
he is.
I tried to go up to my background and not look like a crazy person. Hi.
Your hair is
Uh,
significantly longer than the last time I saw you. You had like a crew cut at Arkham Knights.
Huh? Oh, well, the governor closed all the barbershops in California.
Yeah, that'll do it.
No, I understand. I'm just taking it back. Casey, let's talk about draft because I didn't talk about draft until now.
I still want to try this.
draft went unbelievably well, I think.
I think it's almost unanimous that people have been enjoying it. Not to speak for everyone, go on and chime in with how much fun you're having, though.
Sound off in the chat.
Yeah, it's been a really great reception, so it's felt really good to finally have other people playing it other than our testers.
And
who
it was,
also had good things to say, though. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a labor of like, as you put it. And I'm just so happy that we got to throw out to other people. And yeah, we also drafted the Mythos Busters did a draft, and I streamed it, and I basically muted the rest of them so you could hear my thoughts on what I was picking in each pack. And that's pretty good. If you haven't experienced draft yet, there's a draft at I think it's noon Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Yeah, because 8 o'clock my time. We still need 2 players to fill the last table. So if anyone wants to join in there,
if you haven't tried it yet, first, shame on you. Second, go try it.
And I'll be building some draft tables, like similar to the draft pods we have, or actually exactly the same as the draft pods on the khamCon server. I'm going to put those on our server as well. So those channels will be set up. It's easier if you have 3 voice channels and a text channel, and then so
BSG, are you here?
Finally.
Hey, welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Hello.
Do you have a real
Sorry
name you
about that.
prefer? Or is BSG okay?
Keith.
Keith?
Yeah.
Right on. Well, welcome, Keith. What are you drinking?
In a little bit, I'm going to be drinking. I have a Japanese gin.
Ooh, fancy. I think
Roku gin. Yeah.
Right on.
I like.
Go on, Scott.
I was gonna say I like you, Keith, but I hate gin. Gin is the and it tastes like I'm chewing on a Christmas tree. So
that's more gin for me then.
All right, perfect.
I'm
He's
generally
gonna
with you,
take
but
yours out of the mail.
I would give Japanese gin a try. Like sometimes.
Yeah, there's no juniper in it, so it wouldn't taste
Yeah.
like
I will try that then.
a forest.
Yeah, I enjoy sake. Is it anything like sake? Only because it's from Japan. I'm just
No.
no.
Really.
Okay.
What? Okay, you seem to know a lot, so I'm curious. What is it about an alcohol that makes it a gin? What is the specific? Is it juniper leaves?
Yeah, it's usually juniper and a lot of other different things.
Yeah, I was just looking at the chat. Gin con.
Yeah, we're gonna have a gin con, I guess so.
This stuff doesn't have any juniper, so it's probably technically not a gin.
Oh, sure.
But it's one of those things that's not really regulated, I suppose.
Whatever, man. You slap a fancy enough label on it, I'll buy it. It's fine.
Exactly.
I know myself.
Mortendal
I know what
says
I'm
clear
about.
alcohol. Mortendal says clear alcohol with spice infusion. Is what defines a gin.
Okay.
Cool.
Interesting. So, Keith, how's your con been?
It was crazy. Streaming in front of like 2,000% more people than I usually stream in front of.
Yep, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
We saw a significant bump ourselves and was like, all right,
Yep.
well, probably licensed to be just as silly as ever, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're there for, yeah.
Yeah. Can I share my low light other than
Please.
this microphone stuff?
What happened?
I was working on the quiz, and it was right before I was going to work, so I was kind of rushing through it. And I was to the question that was about the waking nightmare scenario. And as soon as I'm trying to answer that, a big old spider comes from underneath my laptop to say hello.
Okay.
So that was appropriate.
And you're not the only person I've heard in Discord tell a story like that. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's not just me. I feel like that scenario summons real life spiders, and it's starting to scare me a
Yeah.
little bit.
The most terrifying was someone, if you're in chat, say who you are, but I saw someone on Discord say they were going to reach into the chaos bag and a spider crawled out of the chaos bag.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Burn the
Not to
chaos
find a new
bag.
game.
Not the infestation bag, because if it came out of the infestation bag, I would just absolutely flip my table and burn my house down.
Only playing Marvel from now on.
Yeah.
And then you build Spider-Man, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
I all think we're
Yeah,
just
it was
having
Martin.
to do a secret ritual.
How did your Silent Hill scenario go?
It was a lot of fun. It was cute. Well, one of my favorite parts was watching the panel discussion on scenario creation.
Oh.
And listening to all of the things that my scenario could cheat and get around because it's only true solo and it's only one investigator.
Mm-hmm.
So I could design something around one investigator instead of like groups. And what do we have, 40 in the game now and all that stuff.
Right.
How do you set out to design a solo scenario that different types of investigators can survive?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tested the scenario with anybody other than I made my own investigator for Harry Mason, the protagonist from the game. So I haven't checked it with anybody. I'm sure because it's mimicking a video game, so you start with a starting weapon, you get a shotgun later. You don't put any weapons or allies in your deck, so it's kind of weird compared to other games of Arkham. So I'm sure, I think a Mystic would probably destroy the scenario. They don't get. Although Harry Mason's ability is to heal horror, and the scenario is just throwing haymakers at you the whole time. Like the common enemy does 2 damage and 2 horror. So.
Ooh.
Oh God.
Well, all right.
Do you have? Is that? I watched part of your video. Streams. Is that available? Because I'm a huge Silent Hill fan. I would love to play that.
You never stopped talking
I just have
about
a
Silent Hill.
I just have a janky save of it.
Okay.
A save file I can send around, but I'm hoping I haven't learned how to do the TTS, the spawning bags and setting locations for you and all that stuff yet.
Casey and I can help you with that because we did that for draft.
Well,
so.
no, not
Sweet.
the automation part, but the save object part.
Yeah. The automation is a bit.
Well, I'm
can
fine.
learn
I
together.
literally just have a stack of cards and some sort of instructions on what to do with them. Like I'm try it out.
Yeah, I've got that so far.
Awesome.
That does
Keith,
seem
I gotta
like
give you a shout out to. Oh, sorry, go Sean.
Oh, I was just gonna make a smart ass comment. You go ahead.
No, I was gonna go into another different thing. So, okay, Keith, I have to give you a shout out because I watched a video of yours on your channel recently. You suggested 2 investigators from each class for new players.
Oh,
yeah.
I found that really, really interesting, and I think it'd be super helpful because I think that's something we see a lot on just in chat in general. Either new players starting out or someone who's like, hey, I'm bringing my friend over. It's their first experience with Arkham. Who should I give them? How should I build the deck? And yeah, that video like 8 or 9 minutes long and just like hammers it out. Lots of good points. So
Thanks.
anyone who needs advice on that, Big Stupid Grin on YouTube. So I thoroughly enjoyed that video.
Thank you. Is it weird that there was no starter deck investigators, or is that not the point of the starter deck investigators?
I think, well, I mean, the starter deck investigators are themselves an option, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so for people who don't want to use exactly that starting deck, because we don't have them yet, I think it's like, so I see your video as, so you have 2 of each class, and then we also have the starting investigators as well. But for someone who, like, pretty much everyone that's chat, I assume, who has a full collection, who's bringing their friend over, and well, maybe not because COVID, but they're going to play. You now have 3 options, right? You have the starter decks, and you have what you could build for your friend. So,
right. Well, not only the starter decks could even be like this is your friend's first game of Arkham. Have them pick a class, and that's it. And then they grab the deck. Yeah. And then from there, if they're like, okay, so you like Seekers, well, you can continue to use this deck, or you can look at these two other Seekers that are usually pretty good for new players, and we could, do something with that. So it never hurts to have options.
Yeah.
Of course, that's one of these other decks for Dunwich Legacy. Something like that.
Big Super Grin, Keith, I think I saw your name on one of the draft days. Did you draft?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
There's a lot of names
with the
around.
conversation.
Short answer. What were you going to
As
say,
you
Scott?
were.
That was
I was
big
going to
s-
ask him.
That was Big
I was gonna ask him
Stupid
how he found
Grill. Big Stupid Grill.
Oh. Big
I
Stupid
liked
Frown.
the draft you guys did, the adversarial draft.
Mm-hmm.
I was who got stick to the plan super early.
First pick.
So that was just me wondering when you're going to start taking events for that. Just getting like bomb weapons and stuff.
I know. Well, I was the killer, and I was like, I gotta wait for something like really good. I guess I don't know. Yeah, and it was like super late, like third or fourth round. I was like, oh man, I have nothing to put on stick to the plan. Besides
was gonna be my
like,
question,
the basic
is-
emergency cash.
At what point did you count the deck you had drafted for your tactics and supplies and was like,
It was
At
during
the break, like 2 rounds in.
it was at the break or during round 3, like when I was waiting for
Yeah,
someone
like
else to make a
starting
pick.
round 3, we're like, I guess I don't have anything other than the basic card we all get.
I did end up with a decent like extra ammo and dynamite and emergency cash on stick to plan is not bad.
No, it's a good
So-
sweep.
I ended up using everything but extra ammo, so and still lost. So, but my partner Ian got flare, which I was like, oh man, I hope this wheels around, and it totally didn't. But
Nice job, Ian.
man,
It did fetch my Lola, so
yeah,
Good
Lola
job.
Santiago, yeah, so worth it.
I drafted nothing left to lose. Like I saw that come around in my pack, and I was like, fucking suckers, yoink. Never
Yeah.
played it. Never
Yeah,
played
what-
it.
Yeah, when
My very first pick was cornered, and I was like, sweet, the whole rest of my deck is now suddenly super useful. I drew cornered on the second to last turn and didn't play it. Whatever.
Yeah. But hey, you learn.
Like,
You learn. It's almost like it's a different format that requires different consideration.
Yeah.
Because you're drafting
Sort of.
and then playing one game of Arkham, right?
You are playing a
General-
standalone game of
I-
Arkham, yeah.
play
Yeah,
however
so-
many you want, I guess. I think
Yeah, you
the
just-
intention is you do one.
So it's like 10, I don't know, 10 out of 30 or whatever part of what you drafted. Yeah, you just won't draw. Got to remember that you're not guaranteed to see that card that you plucked out of the first
Exactly.
pack.
I will say that I
The
was
stuff that people pick and then don't use, it seems pretty consistent, but that is pretty funny. Like that is exactly the experience that everyone has. Like, oh, this will be great. Throw it out in the last 30 cards or whatever.
and I was also super self-conscious in my drafting choices because I was like, I know the value of these cards in Constructed, but now suddenly I'm forced to consider their value outside of Constructed, which
Right.
I never expected to have to do about Arkham before. So it increased the anxiety that I get when normally up to 11, where I'm like, I don't know, cornered, moving on.
How does one get by with only one shotgun? These
Yeah,
are the questions we always ask.
I passed on shotgun.
yeah.
So did I, because I
Wow.
thought it would wheel because I had extra. Well, I was like, the shotgun was there, and I'm the killer. I'm like, but I have a lot of good
That would
weapons.
have been like your 4th double-handed gun, though. At
Yeah,
that point, right?
and the next pack after it, I got extra ammo. So I
Oh,
was like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
and
and some
but
of those.
yeah, there's some card, and the fact that it's a singleton format,
Mhm.
the fact that like you see a card and you're like, if I don't pick it, it goes away forever, possibly, unless it wheels. But yeah, so.
Well, and there was one time when I got a set and there was leveled up 45 in there, and I didn't pick
And
it.
45.
No, just leveled up 45.
Oh.
I didn't pick it. I picked something else, and then we go around the table, and then it gets back and leveled up 45 is still in there. And I was like, whatever. And then the next round, I was dealt, and there was level 045, and I'm like, all right, fine. I guess I better have something. So
Oh yeah. All right, boys. Well, I really enjoy having you on here. I did do this with the promise that we would kind of rotate casts. So Brandon and Keith and Casey, if you're going to stick around, I know we're going to kind of rotate through people again for Jackbox later. So if you're around, we'll tap you then. Otherwise, it was great to see you, and thanks all of you for your
Yeah.
contributions to the con.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks
you.
for the event.
Thank you so much. And I just want to make sure in particular that Justin gets I know I was a huge deadbeat when it came to getting him the information he needed. And
We all are. We
it was
all
pulling
are.
teeth with me. I'd see an email in the morning and be like, I'll respond to that after work, and then the whole work day goes by and
3 days go by. Yep.
Much
Yeah, I gotta-
appreciated everything that he does behind the scenes.
I have to.
You never got to a point that you were on my list.
You do not want to get there.
I did not,
Yeah.
did not
What
want to
are
be
we-
on that list.
No,
When are we bringing on your
There's-
list to just
real list.
display them publicly?
I think
Yeah,
the-
I have to echo that too. Like Justin, the amount of work. So this whole con, it sounds like a con, but Farcom Con, Justin, yeah, this whole ruse, Justin put in so much work with scheduling and collecting information and organizing people. Justin is kind of that guy, especially in our podcast, who he's just the guy who is like, hey guys, concentrate on this. You need to do this. And he's herding cats, I assume, all the time with just us, let alone with everyone else. So Justin,
That's a Voltar.
cheers to you, Justin, because this con would not have happened
Cheers.
without Justin.
Thank you.
So,
yeah.
I know Brandon
I'll
didn't
drink to
actually
that.
really mean it. He's just angling for the bingo space, but you know.
Oh, thanks, Justin. That's right. Yeah.
I was thinking, damn,
Oh,
I missed
yeah,
my
there
chance-
Justin.
missed my chance to take some payouts from the chat to be like, all right, what bingo events can I make happen while I'm on here?
What do you need? You need Intrepid? You need the
yeah,
Just the envelope appears from out of frame.
Oh, are we talking about Intrepid now? Should we talk about Intrepid and what the value of that card is?
In just a moment. But thank you everyone for coming on. Let's do a little bit of a rotating chair here, and we'll catch you guys later and
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah.
and in the,
Have a
in
good
the
one. Yeah.
Discord.
Hopefully see you for some Jackbox. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care, all. Catch you later.
Bye bye.
Right on.
I have to
Okay.
throw a shout out to now that he's gone, but Casey.
Now that he's gone.
Can't say kind things to his face. He repels
Now,
them.
yeah. Well, we already had the podcast, but for everyone who loved draft and loved the beckon and summon weaknesses, that was all Casey. And that was we were trying to figure out how to do weaknesses, and I think I mentioned this in the cast as well. But he's like, well, what if we made new weaknesses where it's instead of discarding, a couple cards in your hand, the opponents discard a couple of cards from your hand. I was like, you're a genius. But that might be too strong. And he's like, well, what if there's different levels of discarding the cards? As in, they get to randomly discard, or they get to literally choose the card from your hand. I was like, wow. And then he came up with the keywords beckon and summon. So if you enjoyed the weaknesses in draft, that was 110% Casey.
Yeah.
So-
The weakness design was so good. It really took that format to another level, I think. Having that player interaction element.
And
Yeah.
we designed it initially because we started doing this before COVID was a thing, more or less. And we designed it to, you'd be at a table 5 to 7 feet away. So you'd be playing your games and you could just yell hey, pick a class, or hey, left or right. Or you could say, hey, come over here and look at our board and fuck us over, how you how you deem fit. So.
Mind me.
All right. Well,
I'm
we'll see
bringing
everybody
on.
later.
All right. God damn it, Nick! I know that's your go-to for any moment of silence. I'm gonna bring on Vay Zoden and Nate from the Twisted Tentacle Inn, Lost in Time and Space, respectively, and the Great Old Ones Gaming together.
Oh
no, the great old ones are here.
Oh god! Look at those avatars.
No.
Hey, Vase, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys perfectly fine.
Excellent.
I have seen Vase, because Vase and I are both part of the League of Cooperative Gaming. The
Investigators, extraordinary investigators.
There we go. Sorry, League of Cooperative Gaming is the other con that's going on this weekend with Marvel and Lord of the Rings. If you guys are interested in those games, please check them out. They're also doing a bunch of events. But the League of Extraordinary Investigators, I have seen so many pictures of Vase's arms and videos of you like playing cards.
Right.
I've never actually seen your face, so
Really?
I can pick
Yeah.
that humorous out of anywhere.
The
that
real
radio,
shock is
all
Nate.
the
Nate, who looks like a 13-year-old. He gets that comment so much.
I mean,
Called out.
he's not lying, man. I do look like a 13-year-old.
we had an Uber driver when we were doing Beneath the Waves event here in Portland, and we took an Uber, and the Uber driver even was shocked when he said his age. He's driving, he turns around, he's like, "You're what? You're 30?"
He's like, man, there's no way you were 30.
Yep.
He like made me pull out my ID and everything. It was hilarious.
Vase and Nate, what are you guys drinking tonight? That's the first question we always ask.
I got my Punisher water going on.
Hydro
Punisher
homies.
water.
Mhm.
Boo. Refreshing. I'm drinking
It's
the
real water. It's just water. Not fake.
I'm drinking the old mango juice and tequila.
Nice.
Okay.
Classic.
Wow.
In
Not a
the
quality?
ever classic collective like McDonald's Disney cup.
Classy.
Going for the hard stuff early.
Really trying to show my age here, guys.
Continues to pile up.
Yeah.
Let me show you my vinyl collection.
He's gonna stand up, and it's just gonna be like three, like him and two friends below in a trench coat. Shoulders.
That's my inside joke with Frank and Peter. I always just assume it's the same guy in a trench coat.
Checks out.
Boys, how has your con been?
Dude, it's been a freaking ride. It's been awesome. Ride in a good way. Like, I haven't stopped. My wife is being neglected this weekend, but I warned it ahead of time. When I saw the list of things that were happening, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to see you all weekend. Just deal with the dogs and everything else.
I love
Yeah,
you, but
but
you're dead to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's been fun. It's been so much fun.
Just
Yeah, I've
pretend
had
I
a similar
mentioned it.
situation as Vase. Yeah. We even totally forgot that we were doing this too. We're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
We're on 10.
We like finished up our live episode. We're like, Vase messaged me. He was like, did you remember that we have to do this thing with the Mythos buzzers? Like, no crap.
It was Man from Lang who reminded me.
Oh,
I would have
Him and his
forgotten
infinite
completely.
wisdom.
Yeah.
The man from Lang himself.
Oh, Cameron's good
Yep.
people.
He is
He
good
is.
people.
Yeah.
he was in my group when we played against the the keeper format, where
Yes.
Matt and Jeremy play like against us adversarially.
Mhm.
Oh boy, yeah, and he just like Jeremy. I don't know, like he put a crosshair on Cameron's head, and it was just like, I'm going to look at that pizza.
Get out of my hey.
Hey.
Oh,
Isn't that cute? So I forget what it was, but Nate, or Cameron got a weakness, or no, Jeremy got an ability, one of the treachery abilities, and he's like, I can look at your hand and discard a card. And so he looked at Cameron's hand, and he sat there for a while choosing which card. And I was like, well, it's Jeremy. Like, this guy is a card game god. So he's probably thinking real hard. And he choosing to discard a certain card that, Cameron was even like, that one? He's like, yeah. And then next round he played, hey, I get to choose a number. You have to discard each card of that cost from your hand. And then he proceeded to discard 4 cards from Cameron's hand.
And that's why
Like,
he's a multi-card game champion.
Yeah. That's
I'm
awesome.
so glad that we got Matt for that exercise.
Yeah.
I even, when we sat down, I was like, okay, guys, I realize that Matt's the lead designer, but we're playing against Jeremy. Do you guys know who he is? I remember saying that out loud. It was
Oh,
I've
and
heard
see,
he's
I was
pretty good at games.
I was so happy with that too. That Scott, you were a good sport and let me play with the other Mythos Busters guys, because I am casual of all casuals in this group.
Yeah.
And otherwise it was going to be the other 3 from other creative ventures and me against Jeremy, and that would have just
Yeah, because it was basically Sean, Ian, Nick, and Justin.
Yep.
You guys against Matt,
Yep.
and then it was me, Cameron, Casey, and Brandon
Yep.
against Jeremy. and oh god, and Brandon was some sort of guardian. I think he was playing Tommy, and so when you draw weaknesses in there, basically Jeremy gets to know like how many weaknesses does everybody get, and so he totals them up, and then he draws that many weaknesses from a basic weakness pile and then hands them out to people. And he looked at Brandon as the guardian. And he's like, "Here's your face up ones. Here's your face down ones." And he gave him double indebted. So he started with one resource as a guardian, and Brandon's like, I think his first turn was like 3 clicks for resources or 3 actions for resources. Like it was just yeah.
And in case anyone is wondering for context here, we're talking about kind of a special format that Matt threw together that we had a chance to play at Arkham Knights last year, where it's kind of way more DM-y. There's actually a Keeper is what it was called, Keeper mode?
Yeah.
The Keeper format.
Yeah, Keeper format, where he actually will, they choose weaknesses for you, they throw specific treacheries at specific people, they have resources they can spend to kind of enhance the threat of encounter cards, and we had a chance
They can flip the scenario card from standard to hard.
Yeah.
They can spend resources to
Yeah.
It was super fun.
So we got the Dungeon Master and you guys got the Savage Killer.
Yeah.
You guys got the competitive card game player, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the COVID mask playthroughs?
Not yet.
Yeah, that's kind of similar. Like, there's a keeper. It's not as adversarial as this other game format you guys are talking about, but there is a game master, and he can do like certain things with the infection, and it's really cool. It's really fun.
Yeah, because he takes the pallid mask scenario where you're going through the catacombs, and okay, I'm gonna try and do this from memory, but one person at the beginning of the game or near the beginning of the game gets infected with COVID. And when you end your turn in the same location as them or do something near them or something like that.
Yeah, if you're not wearing the mask, you start with a mask asset and then it goes away eventually. So if you're in the same location, you're not wearing the mask, everyone takes a horror at the end of the round, and there's a potential of getting infected, but only the keeper knows who's got the COVID. And if you commit cards to a test of someone else's test, there's a chance you can infect them if you're the infected person. It's really cool.
Oh, man.
I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, Vase and I played that with Matastrophic, and who else was in that game? I'm like really having a hard time remembering.
I can't remember. It's a long weekend. I'm having a hard time remembering everything.
But yeah, we played that, and I was playing Min, and I was the one that was infected from the start of the game, and somehow.
Oh, it was brutal. We died really bad.
We died horribly.
Do you know if you're the one infected from the start? Do you know it?
You don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't get symptoms for a few days, So
Right. Is there a test action you can take? Like
there is
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, the man in the pallid mask can tell you who's infected, and if you reveal him and do the investigate, then he can tell you or give you like the injections to cure.
Gotcha.
And you can find like injection assets where you can inject yourself, and if you're infected, you're cured, but you don't know if you're infected or not. So. Yeah, they found a vaccine.
That's you know what the most disappointing part of that game was, though, Vase, was that every time I went to go search for a surprising find, I would draw it the following upkeep. Like, God damn it!
I gotta say,
this card's bullshit.
Right?
What an amazing game we have that we can create such varied alterations on it. Matastrophic is probably not joining us tonight, I don't think, because it's like
3 a.m. his time.
Yeah, Scotland.
Yeah, he's in Scotland. Yeah, and he made what was it? The Carnival Spiders.
Carnival Spiders.
So we did that one too. Yeah, we played that one.
So I want to ask you about that in a second, and then Andy, his tag starts with a name and then brackets Andy. He did Snakes on a Train, which is where he basically took Essex and added snake dudes from TFA. You have the COVID mask. You have our draft format. Like Matt and Jeremy have made such and Nate French was involved too. Made such a robust system that we can just play around with, and I just absolutely love it. Some of the custom scenarios I see online, like, it just blows my mind the ideas people come up with. Like, we are so lucky to have a game like Arkham.
Dude,
Yeah.
So
the more I play it, the more and more I become convinced that it is the greatest game I've played in any medium.
Without question.
yeah.
It is so engaging on a level that just hooks me so hard. I
Agreed.
wish that I could be a more well-rounded person than I am and actually experience other things, but I'm just too busy re-experiencing Arkham. So I guess that says something.
It has spoiled me on other card games. Like, I think a big part of why I'm not into Marvel is because of Arkham. Like,
Sure.
because of how much I love Arkham, and then I look at Marvel and I'm like there are things here that you could be doing that Arkham does. So I'm just gonna stick with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Having designed scenarios and like games and designed for other systems before, even just as a fan, like designing for Arkham is one of the easiest experiences for me. And that speaks to the flexibility because it's almost like writing a story. Like you write the act and agenda, get that plot structure down, you fill in the locations, and there's such a sense of place in the game. Like, it's so good. Like it just everything is set up to let you tell a story through cards as someone designing for it, and I think that's why it works so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that too, like not only is the game great itself, but the people that surround themselves around the game are truly great too. And we were just talking about this on our episode.
On our AMA
like an hour
episode.
ago.
Yeah, the community. Yeah, we were saying like someone asked what got us or what our favorite part of Arkham was. I think all of our answers were we started because like Man from Lang said he liked the mechanics. Nate, you said what is it that you said you started?
I like the story, and I'm a big Mythos fan in general, so that was a big attraction to me. But the community and you guys kind of more specifically are really like the driving force.
Our love for Arkham has evolved into now it's like the community and all the people involved more so than
I don't mean you specifically, Sean. I mean you, the collective.
So the best they can do is just contain me.
You just broke Sean's heart, man.
A little bit.
Look, I mean, I'd love to hope that we had some influence on the shape that the community made, but the thing is you can only build the infrastructure. Everyone else fills it out. Yeah. And it has been filled out by a group of people that are, like I said this kind of in the opening stream a bit too, but it's staggering to me that, that eternal question of like Lovecraft and his views on people.
Issues?
Let's go with that. No, his views on people. I'm just going to broadly color it that way.
His incredible racism.
Well, okay, sure. among other things.
Yes.
He hated people in general, but among other things, just the fact that this is kind of based around that work, and that question comes up from time to time, but like if you dive into the community and experience it on any level, you'd see that it's so welcoming and so inclusive, and that comes from the top, from FFG's design, and they've done a great job there. It is bar none the best community I've ever been a part of, and that's why we continue
and I think that's by and large very true of other Mythos games too. I think a lot of the creators, I know Vase and I have talked to, we've talked to multiple people in the gaming sphere, and I think it feels like they do it in spite of Lovecraft's shitty views. Like they really want to like co-opt that message of his xenophobia and his racism and make something like actually good out of it.
Yeah. Like in spite of his terrible view on humanity and humans, it's like, let's take the cool stuff he did and make it amazing and bring inclusivity.
Yes.
To it. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we have a trans investigator coming, we have, LGBTQ investigator, like it just, he would, the fact that we have people of color as investigators, and obviously, like Matt is doing an amazing job with that, and he can create more, and that's awesome. And the whole FFG team, like, oh God, it's so amazing. I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that Lovecraft is probably spinning in his grave, and fuck
that guy. He's an asshole.
He's not making a penny. His family's not making a penny. Like nobody. Not that his family's at fault from, but.
And I don't mean to be angry at him, and I'm not, because like he hasn't affected my life, but the fact that we can take stuff that he created and make such an amazing creation from it, I absolutely love.
Yeah,
Semi-related.
make something good out of something bad. And
Exactly. Yeah. Semi-related. There is a wonderful. I'm going to prop this guy's channel as much as I can. There's a wonderful video essay on YouTube on the channel H Bomber Guy about adapting Lovecraft to modern media that I think you all would be very interested in. Everyone in chat, you should definitely give that a watch. It is a very insightful video.
Yeah, that's when you start diving into the bread tube rabbit hole, my friend.
Yeah.
With H Bomber
Too true.
Guy, and then you get real down to that.
It's too true. Too true.
So speaking of insightful videos, Nate and Vase, you joined me for the tempo versus momentum talk, which
That was awesome.
I thought it was going to go good. Like I was like, I'm really excited for this, and I think it went amazing.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of good feedback about it too. Yeah. It was really well done. The PowerPoint was on point, man.
You had that on lockdown, my friend.
Yeah.
I came home from a night shift at like 12:30. I got an overtime, so my shift was extended. And I was like, and this was like, it was Friday morning at 12:30. I was like, I gotta hammer this out, and I just started like brain spewing into a PowerPoint, and But the thing is, though, like the four of us, including Matastrophic, I think, took what shitty PowerPoint I had and then elevated that conversation, especially with chat too. So if anyone's interested in really the nitty gritty numbers and evaluating gameplay, like if you're looking into theme, don't watch this video. It's nothing to do with theme. It's numbers and math and card game considerations and stuff like that.
Concepts, yeah.
Yeah, it comes from a I don't want to say competitive, but that mindset, right? Like where power gaming
from very egg-headed,
analytical
your
mind.
glasses up. Excuse me, sir,
and power gaming, I think, has a bad rap in card gaming for the most part.
It's because it ruins,
especially
things,
Arkham.
Scott.
No, that's because I think it's because of like inherently in like a competitive format, power gaming is going to make for bad experiences in the casual, scene. You know what I mean? If you have one player that's very competitive and very very power gamey, and everyone else is very casual, that one player is going to ruin that experience for everyone else.
100%. That's a really fair statement.
Said, Nick.
As a survivor of Magic the Gathering, that's exactly
dude, that's what killed me from Magic the Gathering.
Same here.
I used to play it as a kid like 25 years ago, and then or however long when it first came out, and then got back into it a few years ago, and I went to a local game store to play on like the Friday Night Magic thing, and I thought I had this fun deck build, vampires. Oh, cool, it's thematic, and then I literally sat there in my first game and just watched this dude play with himself. Literally, like it was combo, draw, combo.
Starting to
I'm
sound
just
like
watching. I'm like, you tell me when I can go. Yeah.
And I feel like that has like that type of playstyle has a place in this game, as does every other playstyle.
Sure.
If that group wants that.
Yes.
Right? Like Sean, when we did our TNA with Ursula and Silas, we're like, let's go power game. Let us just what is the best decks we can build? What's the best actions we can take?
Double key of ease, baby.
Right?
Untappable.
Like,
yeah.
And that's kind of what Iron Man has also turned into, where it's like, we all love theme, we all love the idea of the game. Like like spreadsheets, like story decisions. Like, who cares what my investigator thinks? I'm making this decision based on how it's going to affect the chaos bag. So
I know that that's kind of a playstyle thing, but I do think that power gaming is best when it is healthily contained. Both in a community and in a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, as someone who's very casual, you guys approached it in a very academic way that I appreciated, which was like, it's power gaming, but it's not. It is the only way to play.
Yeah.
So it's a super cool thing to even learn more about, even though it's 12 levels above how I'm able to play the game.
It was really surprising to me, like how well received it was. I really thought it was just going to be like us talking and then chat being like, and
or people being like,
glaze over.
Why would you put a gun in Zoe? She obviously has a knife in her picture. But I think
I tend to also, maybe it's just me, but when I hear power gaming, I think of a certain approach that's very focused on like influencing other people to play the same way. But I think there's a difference between that approach of like, I'm gonna go hardcore power gaming and everyone needs to as well, versus just using the tools available to you to play as optimal as possible. That's a different thing. Like, and maybe what I'm thinking of isn't called power gaming, and it's just being a bully. But I don't think even just like trying to get better at the game is necessarily power gaming. It's just trying to understand the game better and improve. Like that's
you're right.
Different.
I think though it's like you have to know your audience per se, like who you're playing with, So like in that Magic game, right? If that person knows that they're playing with a new player, take it easy on them. Like you don't want to turn people off from the game, and it can apply to Arkham too. Like if you make a super deck and it's someone's first game and they sit at your table and you're doing everything and making them basically useless, they're gonna be like, this game sucks, it's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, for anyone keeping track, I'm switching to Gumball Head 3 Floyds. It's a really hoppy wheat beer, and I first tried it from the beer exchange that we do at Gen Con at After Dark, and I'm missing that, so I had to go buy this. Chris, who is one of our patrons, this tastes like Gen Con to me. The first time I ever got it was at Gen Con, so cheers.
Tastes like Gen Con? That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, that's
it's like what it tastes like 20-something sweaty nerd.
I will say too, I got to give a shout out to the replay section of the site of farcomcon.com. So people can click on events that they missed, and there will be links to the YouTube channels or wherever else these things are hosted. So they want to see these things again. You want to watch me and Vase and Nate and Matt talk about Matastrophic, not Matt Newman, talk about the math of Arkham. That's out there too.
And there's not even links. Like you can watch it all. Like that's how I've been catching up on stuff because like you don't know if like, okay, I want to watch this one video. I go to YouTube. I don't know the name of the person who put it up, or I don't know what to search for, that sort of thing. You can go to the Farcom website, go to replays, and everything's there natively. Like you just hit play and you're watching it in the site. It's wonderful. I've only used that so far this weekend to catch up.
News to me.
Really cool.
And that's why I appreciate all the other event hosts being good sports when I bug them to send me links.
Yes.
Jumping back for one quick sec, I know you guys talked about like knowing your audience. I think that applies, like, if you're going to power game, like if I am going to power game with a fellow player who also power games, we're good to go. But that also kind of jumps into like the whole taboo conversation where I know like Brandon from Optimal Play, like he prefers taboo, and I don't blame him. That's how I play now, unless I'm playing on expert, because fuck expert. You need every ounce you can help, but knowing what you're going into, like he says, if I have a choice between joining a group that's not playing taboo and playing taboo, I'm going to play taboo because it's just more fun for him. So if you know your audience is looking for fun, then you go in for fun. If you know your friend is Vase, like you said, like coming from a competitive Magic background, give them a power deck and maybe they'll have more fun. So there's different. I love the fact that this game has so many options for so many players. If you want to play super themey and think about, what would my investigator choose in this resolution, you have that. Or if you want to be, usually like me, where I'm like, what is the best option based on, this 6% of something? Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And like you said, there's also space for the people that want the story and they want the theme of the investigators. Like you can still make an efficient deck and make it thematic. So that's what's really cool about this game too.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, I think everyone's burning question is about Italian dressing.
Oh boy. Okay, so I have to ask you, and I'm not going to spend channel points for this on your. Can you say machete?
Machete.
Machete.
Machete. That's the right way to say it.
Nate, you and I tomorrow. God, what time are we playing? I think it's 4:00 my time.
Yeah, I think it's 4:30 your time.
It's in the afternoon.
Yes.
Check the Farcom.com website for the schedule. But this came from Casey and I and a couple other players. We had a campaign going, and I was playing Tony, and somehow Tony started discovering clues, and I was not a clue build at all. And so we started calling him Think Tank Tony, but in a Boston / Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
No. Brooklyn.
Generic,
Brooklyn
ever-shifting East Coast accent.
Yeah. And I'm terrible at accents. So Nate messaged me and he's like, "Hey man, do you want to play where we play Tony and Tommy and we speak in accents?" And we decided to go to Carnival because it's in Italy. So it's like that Brooklyn Italian.
Ma!
Yeah. I got the cannoli, ma. And
what are you doing over here, Tony? I'm trying to eat my pasta fazool.
Yeah. So Nate is obviously way better than me. So Nate and I, we are going to be playing Tony and Tommy again. Because the name Italian dressing came from the fact that I brought fine clothes and I put them out, and someone called it, "Hey, is that Italian dressing?" And so
now we know the exact proton torpedo that lodges itself in the Death Star of Scott's brain.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man, it devolved into like a horrendous conversation of just like trying to type things in Brooklyn. We're like, "Hey, forget about it." And then you have to, like, every R turns into an AH when you're on the East Coast for some reason, which is weird because in New Hampshire it's actually like ER. So like soda is not soda in New Hampshire, it's soda. Which is very strange. But when you move like 60 miles south for some reason, it becomes soda gay. It's very strange.
My favorite one is coffee.
Coffee.
I'm putting into chat. It's CWAFEE. Coffee.
It's CWUAFEE.
Yeah, like it's just.
You have to like really like put it in your throat, like coffee.
Yeah. So I don't know what scenario we're playing yet. I assume I'm still playing Tony. You're playing Tommy.
I would assume that. Yeah.
Aren't you guys playing it tomorrow?
We are.
You don't know what scenario you're playing yet?
This is how well prepared we are. Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If I may suggest, and I can get vetoed. What about Consternation? Because we're sailing back from Italy back to Brooklyn.
Okay.
So,
okay. As long as it doesn't go as badly as my Mandy game, then I'm fine with it.
Oh god, yeah, you got absolutely wrecked. Oh my goodness.
It was like 3 auto fails in a row in that game. It was stupid.
And what do you do as Mandy when you're engaged with 3 enemies at the beginning of your turn?
Flop
you die. You die.
Guess I'll die.
I think I drew seriously every single enemy you guys put in that encounter deck. I don't understand.
like the
literally all but one.
The enemy spread in that scenario is like, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, like 25 to 30%, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that, yeah.
And I remember counting, it was 6 out of 7 rounds you drew an enemy as a seeker. Like, it was just, there's so many treacheries in that deck that are just gimmies, right? Like Clap of Thunder, you're like, okay, fist icon, who cares? I discard nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk. I don't know what we're doing, but we will chat tomorrow and build our decks and then talk in stupid accents. So,
well, boys, thank you so much for your contributions. And if you're sticking around, we'll probably tap you for Jackbox as we go through.
Oh, my wife is already mad at me. I gotta go. I gotta go. Not be in the.
You can be in the audience and heckle you. You know, that's also enough.
I'll probably be on, but we'll see.
All right. Well,
I do appreciate the time, though, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks for putting all this on. It's really great.
Thanks for contributing, guys. Like,
yes, thank you.
This wouldn't have happened without people like you.
Yeah.
So,
Aw.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a good night, fellas.
Pastas los bye-byes.
All right, and now I'm going to work on bringing some newcomers into our midst. We're going to have Harrison and Dane from Miskatonic University Radio. So go ahead and vamp until I figure that out.
Well, actually, I can step away for 5 minutes. So
okay.
You guys vamp.
All right, Ian, it's up to us.
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody. I'll see
now we know what the bingo score is going to be for next year.
Yeah.
1 bingo square set already.
Oh, no, this is great. Like, I think this is probably my favorite of the weekend so far, is just relaxing and just chatting and just listening to all the other creators. It's nice to have an event where there isn't the pressure of performance, so to speak, you know? So
Yeah, we've actually covered a good bevy of topics already in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We went from Lovecraft spinning in his grave to power gaming.
Dude, okay, so when I was throwing this together after everyone responded, I went from like a half hour with everyone going like, is that gonna be too long? Are we gonna have trouble like talking with people we've never met? Like, I should know. I should bloody know by now. Hi, Dane.
Hello.
How's it going?
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Not so bad. Working on Harrison here.
How's your con been so far?
I didn't mean to completely interrupt your conversation about Bloodborne. Very meaningful conversation to have.
The chat will be glad you did.
I'll be angry because I think that's a bingo space we haven't covered yet.
Right? I know. To be honest with you, I haven't even played Bloodborne yet. I'm playing through it now, and it's people were telling me that it was like the most fantastic, like Lovecraft inspired video game. For me, that's Darkest Dungeon, but I think that so far from what I've been through, it's definitely a lot of auto fails, a lot of -5s, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey Harrison, how's it going? Can you hear us?
Hi.
We are having remarkably few technical issues, guys. I am freaking happy about it.
Don't jinx it.
So so we've already talked a little bit about how Dane's con has been. How's your con been, Harrison?
It's been pretty good. I mean, like, people are so creative, and like just seeing what people are sharing. Like, I've been seeing some awesome cosplays.
Yeah,
it's been great. But yeah, it's always great to kind of see these things. I went to Gen Con last year, and it's always like nice to kind of run into people that love the game.
Yeah, for sure. That was actually one thing that kind of, when the ideas started to come in, and like I said, Justin took the brunt of actually organizing and scheduling things, but as I start to see the schedule fill up, I was like, oh, so cool. Just so many different personal spins that all the different people who contributed kind of put on their own events. And honestly, that's one of the cool things about being able to do something like this, is to just be like, all right, there's your time, go, and everyone gets to inject a little bit of themselves into their event. And I don't know, it's just a cool thing to see.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
I caught the Silent Hill. Big Stupid Grin did the solo Silent Hill thing. So cool. Silent Hill is like one of my favorite horror games, horror movies. I know there's a lot of controversy about the movies. It's like some people hate it, some people love it. I'm one of those who loves it, but fantastic. I thought it was so cool. I've never really thought of custom scenarios as being something that are exclusively like for a solo environment, and it worked really well. I thought it was very clever, very cool.
One of the first custom scenarios I ever came across was built exclusively for solo, and it's a prologue to the Night of the Zealot campaign, where you play as Chandler. It's called the Lemons of Belief. I haven't actually played it yet, but that was one of the first ones I came across, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, not only is it only, but they're taking a character that exists in another campaign, and they're making a little scenario about that character. So,
yeah, I saw that too.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's working on a Resident Evil one, and like, even after I was playing the Blob, I was like, this feels like a Resident Evil boss. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm excited to kind of see what people are sharing, and like just have people have opportunities, like be so masochistic as to add more spiders to scenarios that don't have spiders in them.
I know.
Or snakes to scenarios that don't have snakes.
That's what gets me. Like, he put snakes on Essex, and I'm like, well, that of course that's what it was missing. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
sure, why not?
exactly. All you need is Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, that clickbaity title is just worth so many mechanical sins.
It's true.
Chef's kiss. Yeah.
Excellent. So did you guys get to play or watch anything that stuck out to you?
We're gonna do the Blob tomorrow.
Right on.
But I have to catch up on a lot of the videos. Like, I have a huge backlog of things I want to see.
There's so
honestly
much.
adversarial draft, super cool. You guys did an incredible job with that. I drafting for me is like one of the things in games that has like enticed me since day one. I think that for me, I started out like on like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and stuff like that. And in Magic, basically it's only now just like paying attention to people who draft really well. So like when Discord user Jackinson came out with the Arkham draft thing, my head just exploded. I was so excited. I just like the first time I clicked that link, I sat there for like 2 hours making decks, just trying to figure out like what like the best like brews are for different investigators. And like he's come such a long way with it, because now he's got like ways to incorporate the experience that you get with Mateo and other different like specifications that certain investigators have. And like for me, that's like the apotheosis of the game, because eventually the card pool gets so full that any investigator can run at very, very optimal capacity. And I think that we're approaching that point, especially like in the near future, getting these investigator decks that just overall improve the quality of like every investigator deck that could exist.
Dude, it's gonna
which is
blow up.
fantastic. It's fantastic, and I'm so excited for it. But like, more cards means not just like in a linear sense that you're getting a better game, but also that like you guys were talking about earlier, different game types are born, and like I feel like drafting is very much that. It's so much fun to do that and have like give yourself limited resources to build a deck with.
Yeah, the other thing I enjoy about drafting is sometimes it forces you to try out a card you might not normally, or use it in a different way than you would normally.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned, as the card pool gets bigger, like then certain cards get left in the corners and get cobwebs on them. So stuff like draft helps you like make use of those cards or pay attention to them, I think.
And like I said about talking about drafting earlier, it was like I know the value of these cards in Constructed, but now I feel like I only understand about 50% of their value when I'm trying to draft them.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. It changes everything. I mean, like for me, I was kind of gravitating towards the investigators who have like the Dunwich 5, where you can pick 5 of any other cards, because they get such interesting options. Like you basically kind of have an idea of what you're taking, right? Like in a Zoe deck, you might take the cleavers, or you might take things like wards or what have you. And like when you're drafting, it's just such an open pool. Like you just get like whatever comes to you and kind of works well is what enters in your deck, and most of the time it's great.
You bring up drafting or the Dunwich 5, like I'm the only sicko that like double includes versatile every opportunity it can get.
When Versatile came out, I don't think I've heard of somebody who was like more excited about Versatile than Harrison.
I'm like, let's dilute this deck. Come on, let's go.
I know.
Pours water directly into the deck.
Exactly.
I used Versatile for the first time today. I used double Versatile in a Mandy deck, no less.
Oh my god, thick Mandy.
She was pushing 60 cards. So
it was gross.
It was beautiful.
And I have to throw out there, it was Casey and I who did drafting. Oh god, fuck. Sorry.
Okay?
I popped my
Are
other
you okay?
bottle. Yes. It pops like a champagne bottle. I forgot about that.
And now it's after dark, everybody. Welcome
I'm glad you had glasses on.
That was pretty amazing.
That's not a bingo square, but that should be one.
Save the beer.
Scott,
Yeah.
is the beer okay?
The beer is okay. It's my second La Fin du Monde.
The Fin du
Oh,
Monde.
Fin du Monde. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, boys, we haven't asked you what you're drinking yet.
That's true.
So I thought it this was in the back of our fridge for I don't even know how long.
Oh, Mythos.
All right.
There you go.
It's
Right?
Sounds on
Pros
brand.
like Mythos.
I'm enjoying some Pinot Noir 2018. It's called Obscura. So it's quite delightful. I was very happy about
Classing
that.
up this jump.
Right?
Oh, we needed a bump since our decline from the Japanese gin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Honestly, Fin du Monde's pretty great.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
was
It's
really
okay.
excited to hear your guys' response to draft, both Casey and I were super pumped to obviously put out that format. And I'm just going to keep pumping it because I think it's, like I said on the episode, it is my favorite way to now play Arkham. And
Yeah.
Jack and Zen, he has that awesome solo drafting widget website.
That's the one that shows you 3 cards and you pick one of them. Is that what that is?
You pick how many cards you want to be shown. So like,
I see.
Yeah,
you could choose. So like, if you want to solo draft, that's an awesome way. But yeah, it was really interesting to hear your guys' experience with draft. What scenario did you guys play?
You mean with the adversarial or?
Yeah.
We actually, I
I just watched.
We were just watching it.
Oh.
Sure. Yeah, I watched you guys play it yesterday.
So
it was super entertaining.
So what you're saying now is we need a Murr versus Mythos Busters draft.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the coolest part about it is that I was figuring, I guess, that you would be drafting cards somehow, and you don't, like, you just kind of get randomly assigned an investigator, or you draft from a pool of investigators and you're kind of picking that way. Mm-hmm. The fact that you just get to like pick stats, pick elder sign ability, that for me just sold me. I was like, they're like, hey, Mythos Busters are coming up with a new variant. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Oh man, this game's so great. And then it was like drafts involved, and I was like, I'm listening.
Casey and Scott. It's not a.
Yeah,
it's not a Mythos.
That's a very important distinction. This is totally Scott and Casey's thing. Ian, Sean, and I had nothing to do with it.
And so when you're watching the draft that we posted the video of, where I'm picking my cards and I'm verbalizing why I'm picking stuff, Sean, Ian, and Nick were completely blind into that scenario.
Yeah.
But Ian and I were teamed up, and still the 2 blind players, Sean and Corey. Or Sean and Corey.
Sean and Corey.
Are you my 8th grade gym teacher now? What the hell?
Sean and Mr. Corey.
He's concussed. It's fine. Give him a pass.
He's concussed. He's still scared from the beer popping in his face.
Nick,
I got shot in the face.
I just realized when you leaned back that you're dressed as my stunt double.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like we had someone redeem a hip shot card review.
Oh shit!
Fast.
Oh.
What do you think of Enchanted Blade in Akachi? Anyway,
shit. Absolute shit. Why would you give up your arcane slots?
I'm with you, Scott. I don't think I'd include it in Akachi.
I can't remember.
What would you run otherwise?
Anything fucking else.
Other spells, yeah.
Spirit Athame plus any damage spell.
Yeah, really.
Honestly, I don't. I'm asking that like right in the face of Azure Flame coming out, or Azure whatever.
Yeah.
That's 6 resources and 2 cards played down, Nick. I
don't know. Here's the thing. I was going to say, I don't know the Mystic version of Enchanted Blade well enough to, on the fly, determine if it's a good include or not. But I can see the argument saying it takes up both your hand and your arcane slot, and Akachi has so many good options for her that
What is she putting in her hands that everyone's so offended with?
Again, the Athame to make those spells better.
No.
But yeah, it's more action intensive. You're right. I don't know.
I just think that the arcane slot fucking matters. The hand slot does not. Yeah. So consider it to be like a shriveling.
The arcane slot matters.
Yeah, exactly. Consider it to be a shriveling, and sometimes you don't have to spend the charges, Scott. And sometimes you can spend multiple charges to compress the damage into a single action. And it has an extra charge on it to begin with because it's Akachi.
So does every other freaking damage spell.
It's true.
But and to make up for the fact that it's combat rather than using willpower, she has like prophecy that she can use. Unexpected courage obviously is like a way to get around that. You've got ways around it.
Mm-hmm. What's her combat? 3?
Yeah, she starts at 3.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
You're pulling a 5 test by not using any charges, and you go up from there every charge you use. You're hitting those tests. And
at level 0 I could see it, but once you can upgrade, now we have like shards as an option.
Yeah, but everyone bitches about
upgraded wither.
I think shards
5 charges on it though.
Yeah.
Because it comes in with 4 when you upgrade it, and then Akachi puts another one on it. And that's that's fantastic.
Same thing with level 3 shriveling. and it's already
Yeah,
using.
just run both.
Yeah, but it
And
doesn't feel horror to
shriveling
her.
can horror
And-
you, yeah.
And well, see, here's
Volcano
the thing. Here's
Look
the thing. Here's what makes Mystic Blade really good is that you can widen and compress the damage as needed. Like shriveling's great, and especially like shriveling through would be a good like comparison. But you're stuck doing 2 damage every time you fire shriveling. When you're using the blade, you can be like, all right,
Stuck.
3 health enemy.
Yeah.
I'll do a 2 and a 1 and only use 1 charge, or I'll
Yep.
do it all in 1 shot. Yeah.
Yep.
It's-
You can pull a Bloodborne R2 and just thrust right through the enemy there all in one go. Reaverman in chat says Mind's Eye plus Sign Magic plus Mystic Enchanted Blade. There you go.
Oh,
there you go.
Now
In that
it's getting
case-
silly.
Now, because I think we built that deck before Mind's Eye came out.
That's true.
So so I would consider that. Thing is, though, Mind's Eye is still just 1 charge for.
It's not a charge. It's a secret. It doesn't do anything in Akachi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Oh, is it
secret? Mind's Eye is good in Patrice, but nowhere else. I'm sorry. I said it. I said it.
I forget what that even is.
I take direct offense to that as a Norman player who's built a Mind's Eye Norman deck.
I think Mind's Eye belongs in Norman. I agree with you, and
I can see that. Okay, I can see that.
And also, Patrice is like the queen of Mind's Eye.
It's true. It's true.
But Norman, yeah.
I gotta look this card up. I have no memory of what this thing
Mind's
is.
really?
The art is absolutely stunning. That's
You
the
mean
first
I hear
thing you
I
notice.
hear Mind's Eye, and in my head I see the Eye of Truth or whatever it's called, the Seeker's
There's an eye in
Skill.
there.
So
Yeah, there's
you don't remember the first asset we ever got with a double spell slot?
No,
That-
I don't play
Oh.
Mystic
It's
that
the
often.
only
Why would I
thing. It's
care?
the only one.
All right, yep, okay, I see it now. 2 cost, 3 resource. I guess we're doing a live card. This is AV. Welcome to AV Club, guys.
Yeah,
I know. We're
not so much a hip shot
I
card.
was just about to
movie
say
at
we
this
turned
point.
from hip shot to like fan the hammer. Here we go.
Okay, I'll throw this out there too. In because it's Mind's Eye is 2 XP, right?
Yes,
It
but
is,
it's
yeah.
myriad, so you get all.
It is.
Yep.
In Daisy, who has higher ed as a backup plan for various treacheries and rats and an acolyte and stuff like that. Like the ability to, and she has the card draw. She's gonna get it,
Yeah, I mean, assuming nothing else is competing for the arcane slots, I could see it.
right? Like like your level 0 shrivelings or whatever. Like throwing that in instead. And now it's kind of just that backup plan, especially if you're playing like 2-player or something.
Daisy has 4 will or 3 will?
3.
Pretty
Three
well.
will.
Yeah.
3.
I still
Word
want
about-
Mystics to have a like ever vigilant equivalent where they can dump
Yes,
multiple assets out
yes,
at the same. They really need
yes.
that because they rely so much on getting assets out to use their will.
play out
That's-
3 tomes, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, 3 tomes would be hard because then you only have 2 hand slots. But
Hip
But no,
shot.
just something
Enchanted
that
Blade.
lets you just dump a couple spells in one action.
Yeah.
ooh, okay, another
Yep.
hip shot empowers self. Garbage.
I don't like it. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them.
Maybe in Diana, as like because she's
Maybe.
building up her willpower.
They're so build around and they're singletons. So they're build arounds that
Yeah.
you can't rely on as much
it's
as any
myriad,
other build
but they're
around.
singletons. Yeah, myriad,
Yes.
but singletons. Yeah.
So
I don't
Yeah,
think it
it's
has
like
its
up here.
investigator yet.
But like when you actually
Sure.
come down to like building a deck with it in it, it's like, do you want to sacrifice 3 cards for this card that
Right.
that like might have like help some point, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like also too experienced.
Okay, how about this? What
Not
if
worth
you? What about empower self as a singleton? You choose a single skill,
it's still it's
That's
only
a little more
one.
reasonable.
but it's still a
But
spell
yeah, it's
slot.
only
That's
one
the
in your
issue.
deck. It's
It's
a
a
spell
single.
slot, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And it's ritual. It's not spell traded, so you can't arcane initiate it.
Mhm.
Initiate it. Arcane initiate it out. Oh my god.
Remind me.
I'm not even drinking.
Does unquiche the soul?
Mm-hmm.
Does that do rituals as well, or is it just spells?
It
does,
spells and rituals.
yeah.
Yep.
It spells and
Okay.
rituals.
So you can get out empowered self. I
Well,
still, I think I
One of
agree
them.
with Sean. I still agree with Sean. I don't think the investigator's here yet.
It's in a weird spot because like so much in Mystic is like, hey, willpower. And then this one's like, hey, regular stats, and I just
Yeah.
don't think we have the Mystic that cares about that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used it just for the +2 stat boost and like an off skill to shore up a weakness. It's fine. It's not great.
It's all right.
But like we talked about that with what's the Guardian medallion that just came out? The Dream Eater, the Wish Eater. What is it? Is it Wish Eater?
Yeah, Empty Vessel and Wish Eater.
Which one?
Something like that. It's the medallion that's bonded that you put charges on it as you kill
feed it,
enemies.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
Vessel.
Anyway, we just talked about that and how I put that in my Roland deck and I was excited to use it, but then it turns out that it's one of in a Roland deck, and in 2 scenarios I didn't see it once. You know what I mean? So that's ultimately why I land on the negative side of Empowered Self, because it's such a niche card that forces you to do a certain thing, and then it also forces you to find it. So
And the thing is, the inherent value of like stat boosters, like you want them to be consistent and you want to be able to count on them. And one of's kind of, it makes that complicated.
So Thoth puts out there too, Empower Intellect. The Empower Intellect in Daisy is pretty good.
Sure. And that makes sense because she has dig options. You know what I mean? Like she can cycle through that deck to find it.
But again, she is, or sorry, again, it's a single card.
Yes.
So yeah,
Salt
but I mean,
tails.
I've also built in Hungering Blade Zoe. So
Yeah.
with Rook to grab those weaknesses when I can, and I mean that did work because I was building around it. But
you built around it. Yeah.
I think like I don't know. Speaking of like the empty vessel, like last time we did the draft, I pulled up an empty. No. I replaced the Hollow Mirror with the empty vessel just because it was just like more thematic. Like Zoe just wants to kill things and like wants to hold on to this thing. Like sometimes I just go for like the what feels good, or just, like she has to splash like God Sort them out and stuff like that. So
yeah, and Casey throws out in chat too. The Hungering Blade Zoe I did build was in Dreamlands, so with all swarming, I mean, the amount of sacrifices you get on that blade is just obscene. Like I never drew a whatever the weakness is for Hungering Blade.
I played that campaign, and I don't think I ever put a sacrifice on the blade for swarm cards, only for the host.
There you go.
They played a Hungering Blade for through Excelsior, and it wasn't a good.
That's not a good scenario.
No.
Yeah.
The cops came and they were just like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, see, when you want to kill cops, you push them off the balcony. That's
that's
what you do.
Or you collect them in the restaurant and throw in dynamite.
Yeah, one of the other.
Who was it that did that at Arkham Knights?
That was Thoth.
Thoth, yeah. Just a bunch of badges and boots came flying out.
Trench. Casey says it's great if you kill the hotel guests.
Yeah, that Hungering Blade's great.
It's true.
Target-rich environment.
Zoe decided that this is the hotel that God needed cleansing.
Yeah.
And so she threw out her blade and went to work. She jumped on Rita's back, safeguarded across the entire hotel, murdering helpless people.
That's when she's like, I didn't kill that one. I killed all the other people, just not the
innocent
first
of this
murder.
murder.
Yeah, that one.
And I will kill anybody I need to prove
as
it.
there's a heap of bodies around.
I'm sad we didn't get to talk with the Optimal Plays guys because in our trivia show, someone mentioned that they were able to do a let God sort them out with all the cats. It's just like.
Oh, nice.
What a way to break the one rule of Ulthar.
Yeah. Excellent. Well,
Aaron / Thoth puts in the chat, those cops were up to no good and they deserved it.
So
well, yeah.
Well, boys, thanks for coming on with us here tonight. And
yeah.
As we're thanking everyone, thank you so much for your contributions. I know the events seem to go pretty well, and I was able to catch the end of your live recording at least. Schedules being what they are, but thanks for coming on and thanks for throwing in.
Yeah, we have to talk about the draft, the MUR versus.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be unfair if I played, so I'm going to leave it to others.
I mean, you lost against us, so
that's true. That is true. However, my hand, watch that game, my hand gets destroyed every single weakness that happens. Like, it just got from the encounter deck and from the weaknesses.
All right, so what I hear is Scott's going to be in it.
He's going to play 2 of you 1-on-2.
Yeah. It's my favorite way to play Arkham now. So
Scott has to pair with me.
All
You're
right,
not
so,
as bad as you think, Justin.
so I'm just going to concede the first
I'm not saying
loss,
I'm bad.
and
I'm
then
saying casual versus the ultra gamer.
Oh, I see.
I'm just going to concede the first loss then, and then we can move on to something else. Okay.
So thanks for putting this on.
Yeah,
really.
thank you for everything, you guys. None of us would be here if you guys didn't make FarkhamCon.
Well, look.
Hopefully next year there will be a NearComCon.
FarkhamCon would not be FarkhamCon without you guys putting stuff in. So
yeah, that's very true.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right, see you guys.
All right,
See you guys.
Bye.